Welcome to The Good Pod, which today we're talking The Good Wife, Season 3, Episode 3, Get a Room. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me, as always, the one, the only, Marissa Garza, the head cheese of this podcast. Marissa Garza. Marissa, you good?
I'm good. You good?
I'm good. Good.
I think we're co-cheeses, though.
Co-cheese? Yeah, I'll take co-cheese. I'll say we're co-cheeses. Good Wife, 3.3, Season 3, Episode 3. Yeah. What overall thoughts this episode?
It was an episode. It was an episode. I think the Eli stuff was better than the non-Eli stuff, but
yeah,
episode.
I think it was a really fun middle of the pack, middle of the season episode. No big revelations, no big moments. It was a day in the life of episode, right? It's like, this is now the status quo, and we're like living our lives in this status quo, right? We've gotten over the shock of Eli working in the same office as Alicia. We've gotten over the shock of Alicia and Will being together. It just feels like we're living normal life now. You need those episodes in seasons of TV to normalize and level set TV. So I really enjoy the episode.
When seasons are 20 plus episodes long, when in 2025, these are the things we don't see anymore because we only have
every episode
seasons.
Every episode of a TV show has to be like super impactful and super this and that. But this is an episode. I miss these episodes. This is just an episode of TV. We can sit back and enjoy it. We don't have to like worry about our characters. We have to look and think about what's around the corner. This is a fun episode.
There are some things bubbling in this episode, but there's nothing like on fire, which is a good place to be.
Yeah, things always got to bubble. You always need bubbling. Just for the most part, it's like we're just living our lives with our characters. They're settling into their lives, right? Because as like we talked about, like 8 episode arcs of TV, it doesn't feel like you have time to breathe in the air of what's happening in the world. And that feels like with this episode, I'm able to breathe in. Breathe in the air of the episode. Oh, okay, this is how things are now. So in that regard, I thought this was a great episode of TV. Really fun, really great acting. And we're going to talk about it all. But before we get into everything about the episode, we want to remind you some free and easy ways you can help this podcast. You can do that by reviewing, rating, and subscribing wherever you're watching or listening. You can hit that follow button, subscribe, whatever the button is called on your podcatcher of choice. You can also help us out by reviewing our show on Apple Podcasts. You can leave us a written review of 5 stars, or you can just leave us a 5-star review. That's fine too. Also Spotify, 5-star review. If you're on YouTube, hit that little thumbs up button down there. All these things help us get into the eyes and ears of more people. If you want to write to us here at the podcast, you can write to us at thegoodpodfeedback@gmail.com. If you just want to talk to us about our show, the show, whatever, you can talk to us directly about whatever you want to talk about. Now that that's out of the way, Marissa, let's get into the show proper. Let's get into it.
All right. This week we had it wasn't the case, but it wasn't in front of a judge. We got to experience court-ordered mediation, which is where the two parties are put together to see if they can make a deal and are facilitated by a mediator. And in this case, the mediator was Ira. And
Ira, the mediator.
Yeah, where's he from?
This gentleman is Isaiah Whitlock Jr. Now, he's not like a household name, but he's definitely one of those. Yeah, he's definitely been in a lot of stuff. I think even someone that has not watched The Wire, this gentleman is from The Wire, and he is well known from The Wire for, if you ever seen, people that haven't even watched The Wire, like I know because I haven't watched The Wire, know the man that says the word shit all the time. You may have even seen that in pop culture, and that's where that came from. Is The Wire? This is the gentleman that says that line shit. I've watched a compilation of him saying the word shit, just as a 2-minute video of a compilation of him saying that word on The Wire. It became well known while he was doing it on The Wire in those years. So that's where this gentleman's from. Isaiah Whitlock Jr. He did a great job here. He's almost not too. It's a racially stereotype, but he reminds me of a Wendell Pierce, of a
little bit, yeah.
A no nonsense, gruff African-American gentleman. It's got his on the Elsbeth side of our podcast, Captain Wagner, Wendell Pierce's character. He plays that same has the same air about him in a way.
Yeah, he definitely is. I'm here to do my job, but there's also a bunch of other stuff going on in my life, and please just get this over with.
Not for the nonsense.
Yeah. So he's going in between our two parties. We have Will and Alicia in one room, and then we have Celeste, played by Lisa Edelstein, which we have both noticed or recognized from House and other things. Like she's been in, there was that one show, The Secret Lives of Divorced Women or something like that. She was in, I think she was in that. I don't know. You know her.
You know her. We've all watched House. Come on. If you're watching this, you haven't watched House. What are you doing, bro? Go watch House. Go watch House, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce is the name of her. And listen, I didn't even look at Lisa those things. I was like, that's just Cuddy from House. I don't know what else.
She's been in a lot.
But it's Cuddy from House. It's Cuddy from House. Lisa Cuddy from House. And this was, I'm trying to put it in like the history of television. Cuddy was on House from 2004 2011, so this was like right after her stint of Cuddy from House. So she was a known quantity at this point.
Yes. So we've got these two parties. They're in a hotel. They're going back and forth. We're introduced to the case in a little bit of a sneaky way, but just for purposes of our reference, I think we should set the scene in terms of what this is a case about. There was a woman who had a car accident, and because she had a car accident, she had back pain, and her doctor suggested that she be, I was going to say operated on, but have this device attached to her spinal cord that would help mediate the pain. And things went wrong. That's basically the gist of the case. And right now they're trying to figure out how to settle before they go to trial.
Yeah, this is interesting because she did they call it SCS, a spinal cord stimulator, to keep her spine going. I was like, oh, that would be awful to have that whatever circumstance you got. Ugh, that'd be a bad way.
What if it feels like, I don't know. What if it feels like there's ants crawling up your spine or something? What do you think that is? I don't know.
Or is this something that's like constantly shocking you, like shocking your spine?
Yeah,
like you move like, yeah.
Don't want one of those. But if you have one, I hope it's not painful. So they're mediating because the judge does not want this on the docket. And Ira's, listen, we can stay here as long as it takes. I have the authority to do that, and I'm going to do that because we're going to get this done, and I know what the judge wants, and I'm going to make it happen. So they go back and forth, and he's, be prepared. Be prepared to stay for the weekend. And at this point, Will is telling us as the audience, like, this isn't just like an accident. This was fraud. What happened here was fraud. So we get a flashback to a deposition where Will is doing the most Will, as always, per usual. The victim here, I think her name is Maggie. She's talking about how this wasn't an accident. This was intentional. And was like, are you okay? Is there anything you need? Can we get you anything? Do you need a break? And I love that here in the deposition, Celeste kind of calls him out on this and is, yes, Will, please vocalize her pain one more time for the record.
Yeah, Will's trying to like really. We saw last episode where Will's theatrics worked against him, and he's trying to do the same thing again. He's like, "Oh, I know you're in such." I like right into the microphone. I know you're in such distress and pain because of what's been done to you by this monster doctor. Because you're really in pain and suffering. And Celeste, who, before you even know of Celeste and Will's past, you get a feeling.
There's a vibe.
That Celeste knows Will's game here. She knows what Will is trying to do. So yeah, you get that kind of feeling before we even get introduced to what their past relationship was.
Yes. And Maggie explains she was in a car accident that caused like a disassociated disc situation to which she needs the stimulation device. And the doctor gave her a catalog of devices to choose from. How freaking confusing is this? What like, I don't even, this was appalling to me from the start. I was like, excuse me, what? She's supposed to pick something? And of course she doesn't pick anything. She doesn't know what the heck she's picking. So I'm not going to pick anything, to which Celeste is using in her advantage by saying, you didn't pick anything, so the doctor chose for you. And she's, yeah, that's cool. I expected him to choose something that was FDA approved, like all of the ones he showed me that were available for me to choose from. But that's not what he did. He didn't choose an FDA approved device. He chose something else. And because of that, my back pain came back. But that's not why I'm suing him. I'm suing him because I got a bill at the end that I wasn't even expecting. So there's a lot going on here. Medical experimentation. We've got some money being exchanged. We've got some malpractice, maybe. So yeah, that's the case that they're working with.
This was utterly outrageous. I know this is a fictional story.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I feel like this could probably be, this might even be based on something real. I don't know.
Yes.
But if this happened to me, I don't even know I don't know how this is in civil court and not criminal court right now, because this man showed her a catalog of things. Hey, pick one. She's like you said, she doesn't know which one to pick. She's not an expert on these things. I don't know. She's trusting her doctor's opinion. Just like, pick whatever one you think is best, because I don't know what is here. So you pick the best one you think. I'll leave that up to you, the doctor of the medical. He's like, oh, cool. So you didn't pick one from here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this other thing in you that I made, that I concocted, and I came up with. That's what you want. I'm gonna just put this thing in here that I didn't ask you about, that I didn't tell you about. I'm gonna put this thing that is similar to these things that I showed you, but not exactly. I wonder how many times has this doctor done this? Where it's just like, she said she didn't care, so I'm just gonna put this one that I made in her. What?
Yeah.
How is that? How is this man not in jail right now for that? Is my thought. Like, it's crazy to me.
And I think it happens a lot more than we would like to think. This is why people are afraid to go to have surgery. There's the stories of people going in for surgery on their left arm and then walking out with their right arm cut off. There's a lot of things that happen. That's not the theme of this situation, but this is a reflection of, say it with me, everyone, capitalism impacting the medical system, because we do find out later that this is a device that he made and is getting financial benefit from, and that's one thing. Okay, like, that's one thing, but he never presented it to his patient as an option. That to me is the worst part of this entire thing. Is, okay, you don't know which one you want out of these catalogs. I got this other thing. Let me show you what this other thing is and give you an opportunity to have a chance and make a choice on this. He just made that decision for her. And there are times where doctors have to do this, but this is not one of those times.
Yeah, I'm not against you making a similar device. Get your bag, homie. Get your money up. But like you said, Marissa, then present it to your client. Hey, I got this that's similar to these that I made that you could also try. The fact that he didn't present that as an option, maybe he wasn't even allowed to medically present it as an option, I don't know, is shady to begin with. Like, why are you sneaking in your stuff? Like, you're supposed to have this oath to your patients that you're going to do what's in the best interest of them. And I feel like if you're knowingly hiding this, you're knowingly going to put something in here that you didn't ask for, that's violating, I feel like, that oath that you have sworn to your patients, to me.
Yeah, in so many ways. Yes, I cannot find even words to describe how inappropriate this is.
Yeah, crazy. I was like, how is this man not in jail right now? Was my thought when this was presented.
Yeah. At this point, and also, I think Alicia makes this point, which I forgot to write down, but she does make a point that, like, this woman is losing, because of this bill, this woman is losing her house. She's losing her husband because she cannot perform duties and like all this other stuff. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, all of this impacts a woman's life. Unfortunately, this is what life is like for women sometimes. And so it's not, I get that's why they're in civil court, but it wasn't just the fact that, like, she was experimented on. She's also losing her life. Like, I was saying, but
like, babe, maybe that dude should have, maybe you're probably lucky that dude's gone, because that probably not is the best man for you. If he's going to leave you based on your medical maladies, that probably is not the best anyway.
That's definitely not sickness or in health.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's a lot on the table here. Later, Maggie gets a call from a reporter saying, hey, the FDA sped up their investigation on Dr. Farland, who is her doctor, and they're in favor of Dr. Farland. So you're on the clock here, basically. If you want to do anything before this comes out, this story is going to be leaked on Monday. And of course, Will knows the reporter. I think we also know the reporter. I think we've seen her before. Her name is Kate.
Not really. Not exactly.
Not her?
Will, there's much to go on here. Will thinks he knows who this is.
Fair, yeah.
But who Will thinks it is not the person that Will thought he was going to deal with. Kate is retired. This is Gretchen.
This new Kate.
This is Gretchen. Yeah. Which I don't know. I'm not sure if Gretchen is the same person that we've seen Eli talk to in the past. I'm not sure if this is the same person. Do you think it is? Do you think it probably is?
I think it is. Yeah.
I think it is too. They definitely have the same kind of, like, mannerisms and, like,
vibe.
The same vibe. So it could definitely be the same actress. But Will thought he's going to be dealing with some person, but it was actually this person's, like, successor because he sent a bottle of scotch to this lady thinking it was Kate. Because Will's like, oh yeah, I know this lady. I can get to her with some scotch. But it was not Kate. It was Gretchen. And I love Will's like, hey. He literally calls this number. He's like, hey, Kate, what's up, baby? And Gretchen's like, don't baby me. This is not Kate. Yeah. This is Gretchen, the replacement. And Will's like, oh, yeah, you're going to be getting a bunch of scotch. Just ignore that. Just because that was Kate's thing. It's not your thing. She's like, yeah, I don't drink scotch. That's my parents' drink. I was like, that's funny. That's hilarious. So, yeah, that was definitely a fun part of this, a little wrinkle in this case.
Yes. Yeah. And this also sets a time clock. The show loves a time clock. Will does call Gretchen, and at the end, they say there's a discussion about why she's writing the article, and it's Will's like, you have a source that's trying to undermine the investigation. She's, I'm going to run the story. If you're not here to interview to add more context, can you be here in an hour? And he's 2 hours. That's when I can be there. Meanwhile, there was like an interaction with Celeste and Will in an elevator. I was like, oh my gosh, don't do this. You know what happens in elevators.
You know how Will transforms? He's in an elevator. He's like, oh, Will gets in the elevator. He's like, oh man, getting hot. And you start taking my clothes off and I'm in an elevator. I'm like in heat when I'm in elevators. I got a real problem here. I love that characterization of Will. Just, you cannot keep it
like an elevator. It's an elevator.
Yeah, like Alicia used to be getting in elevators with Will all the time. I need to make sure that you're okay in these elevators. I don't know who you're getting in elevators with. Because anytime you're in an elevator with me, you try to get in my pants.
That's how it works. But she's trying to get Will to get to a deal without the mediator. She's, hey, you know me, I know you. Like, we used to settle things like a certain way. And he's, yeah, okay, but not anymore. But this is a conversation that continues going. At the same time, Kalinda is being asked to do this case and another case at the exact same time. And we're seeing, like, it doesn't really impact now, but I have a feeling it's going to impact in the future. She's almost to the hotel room door when Diane calls and tells her, like, hey, there's this other thing we need you on, which is what was going on with Eli. And which takes precedence. She's like, both of them. So Kalinda had to make a choice here, and she chose not to help Alicia. She chose to go with Eli.
Can we talk about this? Can we pull the curtain back all the way on this Alicia Kalinda?
You want to do it now?
Because I think this is the official start. I think it is. I think this is the official start of Kalinda and Alicia just not being in scenes together at all anymore. Because as we saw in this episode, Kalinda is like outside the door. Here is Alicia, and then decides to leave. Yep. Alicia and Kalinda are never in the same frame. They're never in the same scene of television. I think this is the start of...
Clarify for our listeners, it's not that Alicia and Kalinda are not getting along together. There have been reports that Archie Punjabi and Juliana Margulies did not get along, mainly because of Juliana Margulies' behavior and like vibe in general. Maybe some things she said to Archie Punjabi, but to a point where she refused to be in scenes with Archie Punjabi. And we, as we were watching in real time, couldn't really pick this up. Like we didn't know what was going on. And there is a scene later that's very famous that has to do with this whole kerfuffle, which when we get to it, we will point it out. But Jason and I have been waiting to see when this moment came into play. And I think you're right. I think this is a time where not only is Kalinda being she's being pulled away from Alicia. It's not just like a firm issue. It is definitely like a pointed thing. So we are now on, I don't know, separation watch to see if it continues into other episodes and how long it goes and see how they play it. Because it's not that these characters couldn't be in the same room. These actors couldn't be in the same room. They couldn't be in the same room. They couldn't be in the same scene. There was some major beef.
Yeah, there's been a lot of conjecture over the years about why this has happened. You've heard me and Marissa talk about it. We've hinted at it a little bit. We went on a whole other ass podcast and talked about the feud between Juliana Margulies and Archie Punjabi because, and that episode of that podcast, if you've heard another podcast, Rob and Akiva Need a Podcast, we went on an episode of their show where they talked about quote unquote unsolved mysteries. And we were on that show to talk about the unsolved mystery of Archie Punjabi and Juliana Margulies. And Listen, we've done research on this.
It's unsolved.
There's been no concrete evidence to say why this happened. There's been a lot of theories. Basically, one theory that I think is really prevalent, really might make sense, is that at the time that this show was airing, in like season 1, Archie Punjabi was a fan favorite character. Everyone loved Kalinda, still do. And Julia Margulies felt a certain way about that. The fact that Kalinda was upstaging Alicia and Alicia's show made Juliana feel sort of way. Especially since I think, if my memory is correct, Archie Punjabi got nominated for an Emmy for the first season of Good Wife for supporting, and Julia Margulies did not even get nominated for leading in that season of TV. So I think Juliana Margulies took that a certain way and acted a certain way on set and toward Archie, and the relationship was not good, which led to Juliana, who is by season 3, I think has a lot more pull, a lot more say, to go to the showrunners, the Kings, and say, hey, I don't want to do any more scenes with Archie Punjabi. I don't want to be in the same air as her. I don't want to be in the same building as her. I don't want to be on TV with her anymore. So that's where I think we're going to see, and this is the season that started.
Yeah.
And so we've been looking for it. I think this is officially the start.
Yeah.
And like Marissa said, every episode we're gonna be looking at that with a keen eye and to say, we're Archie and Juliana in any scenes together, where they're face to face. And sometimes it doesn't even matter if they're face to face, because they might even be face to face in those scenes. So we're going to be on watch for that. I think it's going to be very interesting to go through that journey. And I feel like we're able to really lay it out there now. On the couple episodes ago, we retained. We almost spilled all the beans on that episode, but here we're spilling it all. We're telling those that have not watched The Good Wife, if you're just now watching it, be on the lookout for this, because I think this is a big part of this show. So much so that as we were watching in the day, and after a certain amount of episodes where Archie and Juliana were not in scenes together, we were like, is something going on? What's happening? Like, why are they in scenes together? And people would ask the actors and the directors and the showrunners during the run of the show, what is going on? And they would all brush it off. Oh no, it's just how the story's gone. It's just how it's just the evolution of the characters. No. And in the years since the show has gone off, there's been a lot of hints from other people to say, no, these people could not be in a scene together. They could not be on set together. It was not.
Although it must have been a really strong NDA, because we still don't know. You know what I mean? We still don't know for a fact. We don't know. People have said things like you talked about, but there's still this mystery. And I think that's and also, like, as someone who watched this in real time, it is also like oh my God, they pulled a fast one on me. Like, how did that happen? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but I was like, oh my gosh, like movie magic. What happened? Like, how did this all come together? Let's mark it down. Season 3, episode 3. We're calling it as a start, and we're going to watch it as it goes on, because stuff happens, and we will let you know when the stuff happens.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So that's an interesting part. We've gone off on a little bit of a tangent here off the episode, but I think it's an important moment to call out here. There are certain moments in the Good Wife TV series that are monumental, that are life and game changing, that we'll talk about as they come, and maybe even we'll give you a hint when they're coming up. And we hinted this at you, and now we're giving you the whole
story
thing. Yeah, whole stories
that we know of.
Yeah, I think it also speaks to like maybe it's the power of the Kings, where the Kings like are still making television. So no one wants to piss off the Kings by spilling behind the scenes secrets, because they know they could still be on a King joint. They don't want to say anything to get them excommunicated from Kingland or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we'll be watching. We'll be watching what's happening in the case.
Good one. Very good.
Thanks. So Oren's left side, she had Dr. Farland show up for lunch, which is just bad form. Like, it's not Will and Alicia are bringing Maggie up to the hotel room to have conversations. Like, they've talked, but like on the street, which leads to another deposition flashback where basically there's a conversation about what happened to Maggie is that the lead, which is the node that delivers the electricity to the part of the body that needs it, had moved. And this caused a lot of pain and caused her back to basically go back to the place it was before this device was put in. It didn't work in this case. And she was in a lot of pain, so she took pain medication. And what the doctor is saying is that Maggie would have noticed that this happened if she wasn't taking all of these pain medications. A little victim blamey, little not great, but that's the way they're going at this point.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to look at from whatever perspective you're looking at it from, because the doctor is saying she kept taking the painkiller, so she didn't notice that the leads were malfunctioning in a time where we could have fixed it easily. And our side is saying, no, that's not what happened. She only took the painkillers after she had the massive pain in her back. Which side is it? So it's a very interesting way to look at it, depending on your perspective, which I think causes the mediator a little bit of heartburn. And so I'm like, the mediator, I love the just exasperatedness of the mediator throughout this whole episode.
Oh, yeah. Ira just wants to go home. That's his thing this entire time. So he throws out here 8 million. Would you take 8 million? Because I think I could get them to 8 million. Can you do that? And I was like, no way, Jose. I'm not telling you what my bottom line is. There's no way that's happening. So Will leaves to go talk to Gretchen, and this turns into some more than what Will was anticipating, more than it just being Gretchen and not Kate. Gretchen is also paying attention to what's going on in the other part of our episode, which is about cheese. And she wants to back channel into the cheese thing and says, hey, if you do that for me, I'll delete the story. And it's a win. It's a win-win. And Will's like, I gotta talk to Eli. And she's, that's not back channeling. That's not what's going on. And he's okay. We'll see what we can do. And before he leaves, Gretchen tells him, yeah, it wasn't the FDA that stopped the investigation. It was the state's attorney's office that didn't want to bring fraud charges against Dr. Farland. And that was like, oh, okay. Now Peter's involved, which of course my mind is, oh, Peter, you're so annoying. Like, why did you do this? There has to be, like, you're trying to do this to get back at Alicia in some way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. But because Chris Noth is off doing something else, who knows what, maybe Sex in the City related, we don't get Peter in this episode. We get Peter's underling, Carrie.
Yeah. And I thought this was an interesting scene because Kalinda shows up and she's like, hey, I need to know about like these fraud charges. And Carrie's, I have nothing to offer you. I know what you need, but I don't have it. And she's, how you been? And he's, I am not participating in this. If you want your information, go talk to Matan, because he won't help because he won't sleep with you. Is that the idea here? And I was like, whoa, what is going on? These two are not as close and chummy as they may have been in the past. It's definitely, Carrie, I think, is like legitimately hurt.
Apparently with a new hairstyle, Carrie also got a new backbone. Yeah, he also got a new backbone too, because he's saying the silent part out loud. He's just like, oh, I feel like you use people's feelings to your advantage. Whoa. Oh, we're just calling it out now. And for Kalinda's part, Kalinda looks actually really hurt, because I think she does do that with a lot of people, but I don't think I think with Carrie, it was more than just, I'm using this person. She came to view him as a friend, a potential romantic interest. But like we've said before, this whole thing with Alicia really had her pulling back. And I think Carrie sees that. And now that Kalinda is like, he won't give her information. Now that she's smiling in his face, so how are you doing, Carrie? That pisses Carrie the F off.
Of course.
I'm not falling for this again. I'm not doing this for you again, because I went down this rabbit hole with you of thinking you cared about me and my feelings and my emotions, and then you just cut me off. So you're not going to do that again. I was like, whoa, like this is a big moment for Carrie. This is big Carrie coming in.
It's a new day for him. Not only did he go down the rabbit hole of feelings, he like broke the law for her. He told her about the grand jury that was being put together for her, like an investigation into her. And he's done other things for her. It's a big risk in Carrie's mind. And I think from Kalinda's point of view, like she may have known that Carrie thinks that she does this with emotions, but I thought she thought that Carrie would think that that's not what's happening with them. Or in spite of that, Carrie still
was a good person for Kalinda, like a safe person for Kalinda. Like, I think she thought that he knew and was okay with it.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't him. And I think that she's like trying to tell him it wasn't. I didn't do that with you.
Yeah, Carrie, I do that with a lot of people, but with you,
Right.
it was real. She literally tells him, like, what I feel, whatever. She said, whatever I was feeling for you was real. I was like, so what were you feeling for him? I'm confused. So she's never come out and said it. So it's like they had that one kiss last season and then not much after that. But it's like we said, Kalinda's fallen back from any relationships. But I do that she told him what I was feeling for you was real emotion. I wasn't playing with you. I wasn't shysting you. And we didn't really get the end of that conversation. I don't know, like it feels like when scenes end, in my mind I envision the characters getting up and like leaving the room. Like we never get a real end of a
I'm like, what else are they saying? I'll write the rest of the scene. And you're
yeah, it's like they're robots and they just finish like cameras off. We get up and leave the room. We don't talk anymore. We don't end the conversation with a all right, see you later, bye. It's just they just shut down. Like they get up and they leave the room without saying another word to each other when the camera's cut.
When I was a kid, I used to think, what is going on Sesame Street today? Are they still doing that? Like thinking that they're still around even when the camera's not on them. But yeah,
I used to think it was like Toy Story, like they had their own little.
Yes, exactly. But this whole conversation that just ends with, I got to get back to work. And she's, yeah, I guess I got to get back to work too.
Yeah.
Back at the hotel, Will has dinner with Celeste. And this, you can really pick up on the vibes in this one. She automatically asks, like, who's the lady friend? And he's what? The who? The what? And they're playing this game called Kern. I have never heard of it.
I think it's Coon, Kuhn.
Yeah.
Coon Poker. I have the Wikipedia pulled up.
Oh, tell us about it.
Coon Poker, Kuhn, just for clarity. Coon Poker is a simplified form of poker developed by Harold W. Kuhn as a simple model, zero-sum, two-player, imperfect information game. They said simple.
They literally said the same thing. Yeah.
It's amenable to a complete game theoretic analysis. In Coon Poker, the deck includes only 3 playing cards, which is why she dealt 3 cards. She dealt 1 to her, 1 to Will, and 1 to empty space. For example, a king, queen, and jack. 1 card is dealt to each player, which may place bets similarly to a standard poker. If both players bet or both players pass, the player with a higher card wins. Otherwise, the betting player wins. Basically, if you have the high card, you win, I think is what they're saying.
I was like it's like fancy
they deal 3
war.
cards. Yeah, they deal 3 cards. Whoever has the highest card of those 3 cards wins, I think is what that's supposed to be.
They set this game up and is if Will loses, you're going to take $5,000, but if Celeste loses, you'll get $10 million.
Well, $500,000, not just $5,000. That would be quite a.
Oh, did I say just $5,000? Yeah, $500,000. And then if Celeste loses, you'll get $10 million. And there's this like little back and forth. And Celeste says, "Why did you drop out?" And Will says, "I moved on to adulthood." And I was like, where did he drop out from?
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be like, why did you drop out of my life? Or like, why did you drop out of our friends with benefit arrangements? That was a weird way to phrase that.
Yeah.
Because he didn't drop out of school, right? Like he graduated college. She didn't drop out of college. What's she talking about? I do think she just meant, why did you like drop out of our arrangement? Because it feels like they had a very like on and off, maybe at times friends with benefits, at times they may have been girlfriend or boyfriend, but then at one point he just like pieced out on her life altogether.
Ghosted her before ghosting. Yes.
By the way, Celeste doesn't know who Alicia is. I feel like in the Good Wife world, everyone knows who Alicia Florrick is. But we found the one person that does not know who Alicia Florrick is. The lady friend, the lawyer friend, like, lady, this is Alicia Florrick. You don't know who Alicia Florrick is? I feel like everyone knows who Alicia Florrick is. I thought that was very weird.
Agreed. But Will leaves the table without knowing a conclusion here. It turns out he would have won, but he goes back to the hotel room. It basically tells Alicia, hey, I found out what their bottom line is. It is $10 million. And also, she's going to make you play jealous. Like, she's going to make this a thing because we used to be together. We were together for 2 years. And Alicia's, interesting. What if I play jealous
for the mediator. And she's into it. She's into it.
New feisty Alicia is back again. This is like a brand new day Alicia. It's brand new Alicia. I did think it was interesting that Will just came out with the information. Listen, before this information comes out any other way, I was with this woman. I don't want it to be a surprise. I don't want to be nothing. Just so you know, me and this lady have a past, have a history. It's like,
to me, signals that something a little bit more than just a little fun, but that's just me.
Celeste and Will are, before that, Alicia finds the mediator, Ira, in the hall, and he's like trying to deal with stuff. And then he gives like this advice of take this and put it in a box. I didn't really know where we were going with this, but
I think he was just like, because Alicia comes upon him as he's talking to his kids, and she's like, how do you deal with it all? He's like, you gotta keep it human. You gotta put this in a box and basically compartmentalize things. Like, don't make this about anything else but the case itself. You can't be anything but the case. That's what you need to focus on. Don't let other things be conflicting to you.
Yes, I was confused because I didn't think that Alicia would have a problem compartmentalizing the case. I think this is supposed to speak to compartmentalizing Will, like keeping their relationship in a box of sorts. Okay, back on track. Celeste and Will are arguing in her room. Celeste is, I know Will. I know when he's failing. This is what he does. He doubles down. He does all this stuff. And then she's like, I can't talk to him. Alicia, hey, you talk to him. And she's like, what? Excuse me? I used to be able to talk to him, but I can't talk to him anymore. So you're going to have to talk to him. And Alicia, she plays, again, lawyers are theater kids. She plays the part. She gets up and she leaves. And Ira is just, I guess this is turned towards the personal. This isn't great. So it's working in their favor.
Celeste also says, Will and I got together and we had a very productive session. Maybe we should go do it again. What do you think, Alicia? And Alicia, playing like she said she was a jealous girlfriend or whatever, gets up and, oh my gosh, like basically clutches her pearls and runs out of the room because she's so overwhelmed. All of this acting for Ira the mediator to be like, oh wow, like it's really gone off the rails. And I'm surprised that this didn't lead to something else with Ira's. Are you guys effing?
Right?
Like, what's happening? What is going on? This is improper. This is not cool, especially after he just had a conversation with Alicia.
Right.
Hey, keep it in the box, okay? And keep all your other crap outside the box. Let's make the court thing about the court thing and not anything else. And then what does Alicia do? She goes and makes it about something else, or at least acts like she is.
Right.
That was it, but it was a very fun scene to see. They turn the tables on Celeste, using Celeste to have the mediator on their side at this point, because Ira probably feels bad for Alicia, so he's going to be like on their side more, I guess is what the theory is for Will.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stretch, but I did love Alicia walking out of the room, closing the door, and smiling. This whole conversation brings us to another deposition flashback where there was a conversation around FDA approval. And this is something that is relevant to today. So the argument is that the FDA doesn't need to approve things if they are just minor modifications of something else. So the argument with Dr. McFarland was like, I just took what was already made and I made a minor modification, so I didn't need to run it by the FDA. This may be true because, like, right now, there's a whole discussion about vaccines and how once you determine, like, the main base of the vaccine, you don't need to do like a placebo test. That's just how we've done it. Every time there's a flu vaccine, it's not like we're starting from scratch. We're building on what we've done. And now they're trying to do this whole thing all over again where they have to go back to square one. So this tracks in terms of how I think the FDA would approach the situation. However, like, this was not a minor modification, in my opinion, because one device is square and one device is round. Like,
in my opinion, were we in the Supreme Court?
In my opinion.
But no, I understand the Dr. and Celeste's point of view, because it doesn't have to look the same to function the same. If I took a iPhone and an Android, they both look different, but they do the same thing.
One is superior.
Which is the iPhone.
The Android.
Yeah, oh my God. Hey, see, we're not going to start that here. I gotta start that over again with your wrong choice of doing the Android thing, but we'll also pass that for now. I'll get over my anger at you about that right now. But yeah, I could see what they're saying though. Yes, it looks different, but it has the same insides basically. It's got the same gear on the inside of it. Doesn't matter what the outside looks like. The inside is what matters.
Yeah, and Celeste has done her work here and had a report, like had someone look into it to say that like it was a minor situation. So Will is okay. We got the mediator, but we got to beat this report type of thing. Where the frick is Kalinda? Like, what is going on? So he goes to meet Celeste one more time, walks in the door, basically says, "Hey, I want $.
Before you get on that, I want to put in the fact, like, they're like, we need someone to, like you said, refute this case. We need to see where there's like someone has said something besides a minor difference. And we need to get a report, something that says there's a major difference here. And like you said, I think, where the hell is Kalinda? What is Kalinda doing? And Alicia makes a face. I want to call it the face. Alicia's like, Kalinda, like literally rolls her eyes at the mention of the name Kalinda.
Kalinda is so necessary though. Like they would be nothing without Kalinda. I don't know. Like she has to see this. Like Alicia has to.
She sees it. She doesn't want to deal with it. She doesn't want to deal with the Kalinda of it all. I wanted to point out the face that Alicia makes, like, freaking Kalinda. Like, again, just to show you where they're at.
So then Will goes and asks, or not asks, just basically states like, "Hey, we want $10 million." And this is why. And because Celeste is like, $10 million, that's laughable. No, we're not going to do that. All we had to do was follow the money. Like what we found out is that Dr. McFarland here is making 30% off of every single device that he planted. And he also applied for a patent. And the funny thing about patents, Celeste, if you don't know, because I'm sure you do because you're a lawyer, but if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. When you apply for a patent, you have to say that it's original. You can't say that it's a minor modification off of something. So with that said, where's my $10 million?
But then he literally quotes the patent that McFarland himself wrote out. Where McFarland's like, this is not a mere modification of those existing on the market. It was like, oh my God. Thank him so much for using the exact verbiage that I needed in this exact moment to say this is not a minor modification on the existing ones. Just like chef's kiss of what I need right now of the way of his wording of this patent here, which I thought was really smart. Obviously, like they don't really do, because Kalinda literally comes in and delivers this to Will, but like at first delivers the wrong thing because she's working on two different cases. Oh wait, not that one. I love that moment. But yeah, I think if in our perfect world, if these episodes were like an hour and a half, we would have Kalinda going to like the patent office and getting that information, because a lot of times when these things happen, it feels rushed. It doesn't feel like what they're not saying here is Kalinda went to the patent office and got the original patent for this.
Yeah, it was just like magic, like usual. So Celeste offers $8 million and Will says, "Okay, I'll talk to my client." And while leaving, Celeste says that she needs a new firm. She needs a new home. And she also misses him. So we shall see. The last part of this is that Ira tells what?
Ain't no way. Like, I don't know if it happens, but if I'm Will, I am not causing trouble for myself. Like, Celeste, like, you cool, but there's no way in hell I can have you in this law office with my current boo thing, Alicia, also in the same vicinity. If Will is any kind of smart, he will not do this. Yeah. I don't recall Lisa Edelstein being a big part of this show. I don't know if she shows back up later. But if Will has any sorts of smarts about him, he's like, no, I'm going to just forget you even said that. I'm not even going to talk to Diane about it. You're not going to be part of my firm with my girl walking around. I'm not trying to get that sort of trouble for myself. No way in hell.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's not going to happen. But Celeste definitely thinks it does, because she tries to, "I miss you," before he leaves.
She has a face, like the face hold. She's like,
yeah.
Will. So like grabs his face. Will's like, okay, enough of that. Goodbye.
Yeah,
like,
bye.
Thank you, but no.
Outside, Alicia meets up with Ira and says, "Thank you so much." And he's, "Yeah, it's great. And also you played me." And she's, "Wait, what? I did? What did I do?" And he's, "Yeah, it's not polite what I'm saying, but it's fair. This is what you did. And I would want you as my lawyer, but don't run away from what you're actually doing here."
Yeah, because Alicia, the look on Alicia's face is how dare you? But it's like, Alicia, you cannot play both sides. You
Yeah.
cannot do these things and then be like upset when someone calls you on it. Because I feel like Alicia has always wanted to portray this like Saint Alicia, that she's above it all. But no, you're not. We've seen you not be above it all. And this is one of those things. Like, you used presumptions about you and Will to your advantage, and that's fine. It's okay. But don't look all like hurt and shocked when someone calls you on it. I think Alicia still needs to learn that lesson of, I can be a badass girl and own my thing.
Yeah.
Like, she needs to start owning her new fierceness. Step into your power, girl, and own it.
Yes.
Don't be like, oh my, you accuse me of such things. I'll be like, yeah, and thank you for understanding, Ira, because I did that shit. I did that shit. I know this is network TV, but I wish you could have gotten a shit before Ira left stage left.
Yeah. So Alicia's still, as always, dealing with her identity. But here on the episode, we had another thing going on, which was quite amusing and also very classic. This is like very good wife, good fight territory, in my opinion. And
and I think this is going to be, do you think this is going to be like the format of at least this season, mostly, where we're going to have the Eli side and a Lockhart Gardner side? Do you think this is going to be like the ongoing thing? Because we've had it, this is the second episode in a row. We've had the direct like Eli story and Will Diane Alicia story. Do you feel like that's going to be carrying on through the whole season?
I do, because it's Alan Cumming.
You don't get Alan Cumming and have him do nothing.
There's that. And also, we don't have a campaign going on. So thank God we don't have to see Peter all the time. But we do get to keep Eli on our screens. And this is a way to do it. And I think the way that they set it up, specifically in this instance, of it kind of letting us know that like PR isn't just PR. There's also legal teams behind it. And like seeing how that whole machine works is particularly interesting to the Kings and how they try to explain things to the audience.
Yeah.
At least the Kings that I know.
Yeah. And we need a storyline that Kalinda can be in.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Like, it almost feels like this is the Alicia storyline and this is the Kalinda storyline. Near the two shall meet. This is what it will.
And at least it's not with Blake. Kalinda has had her own storylines in like a Blake situation, but this is a way to keep her in the firm, but not with Alicia.
Okay, so, you might have lost Juliana Margulies in the divorce, but you're gaining Alan Cumming. So I think in the end, you win. You win Archie Punjabi.
Yeah, for sure. It turns out that the Wisconsin Dairy Guild has a PR problem. They need some help because there has been an outbreak of listeriosis in a grammar school in Chicago, and they traced it back to cheese. And I love this entire scene because we get to see how Eli, first of all, is like writing it off. He's like, cheese? What is cheese? What is this? And so silly. And then he hears about this outbreak and he's, oh, okay, like this is something that I like. This is something that I could fix. And he gets everybody lined up, but he doesn't do anything until the very moment where he knows he's going to get paid and how much he's going to get paid and all of this stuff. So we get to see him like negotiate, but not really, but set himself up for getting this client and making sure that he can do his job with the tools that he needs.
And whenever you can see TV footage of children throwing up due to cheese, you gotta do it. I just loved like the kids passing out in the cheese, the kids throwing up the cheese.
My favorite
funny sight gag.
My favorite was the foot that just wiggled. It was like
it's like twitched.
Yeah.
It's good, very good sight gag.
And they're watching all this news coverage during this conversation. Ladies, I'm worried this is going to stop people from buying cheese.
You think?
I just love when like, Eli just turns to somebody and he's like, do you effing think so, lady? Like, what are you new? Duh.
She's not the decision maker, and he's used to dealing with decision makers. He's listen, I gotta have what I need to do my job, which also includes Diana's temporary counsel, because we need to be able to have conversations that are covered by privilege. And so if you want to work with me, you're going to have Diane in the room, and you're going to have her on your payroll.
So this probably is true, but I think it's also a good way to, the deal is, hey, Eli, like you help us and we help you. Like you also give us some business here. And this is a good working relationship where you get me some business, I get you some business. Like we'll help
Yeah.
each other when we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And then while watching the news coverage, they zoom in on a package of cheese from Heather Farms. So we know we're going to have to talk to the CEO of Heather Farms. So Eli brings him in and he's okay. He's like really dealing with this like he would a campaign, right? Like he's not necessarily dealing as a company would that has a little bit more vulnerability, has more things at stake because you're the top man, you're the guy who has to answer the questions, take accountability for all of this stuff. And Diane's like, about that, if he takes accountability, it's really making him very vulnerable. I do not think he should do this. And there's some disagreement between Eli and Diane. And I think like Diane is working in the best interest of her client here. If the CEO says he's responsible, that's the end of the company. You know what I mean? Like he has to figure out a way to frame it that isn't putting it all on one person, which is how Eli is used to operating.
Yes, it's interesting seeing the different philosophies at play, right? Because you're walking a tightrope. I can, at the same time, Diane doesn't want this man or this company to be liable because they can be sued for a whole lot of money. Eli, on the other hand, is like, no, just take the blame now, get out of the shitstorm while you can, because we don't want to draw this out. We want to end this thing here and now. We want to take our responsibility, say we're going to do whatever we can to fix the problem and be on our way. And Diane's like, not that simple. We need to take the blame without taking the blame. You know what I mean? We got to be a little more delicate with it. Eli is not, he's not really a delicate guy. He's just, no, like this is how it needs to be. And that's it. So it'll be interesting. Maybe this might be a whole season long thing where like they have to find that kind of balance, that kind of compromise to be like, I know you want to do things this way, but things need to be done this way for this side of our business, which you are now a part of, Eli. So you got to work with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that kind of puts Eli in a place where he might not have been for a while, like learning, like he's going to have to learn some things and navigate in a different way. Because when he has a plan, he is like a bulldozer. He's just get out of my way. This is what I need. I'm going to do what I need to do to get the job done. And there's a couple more things floating around in his universe these days. So they send Kalinda to go visit the plant, which is in Bloomington, Illinois, which is like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Chicago. So this is taking Kalinda away from Alicia a lot.
Oh, yeah. Geographically, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And she finds out that cheese is made from a bunch of different places. Like it's going to be really hard to track this down. So she calls Eli and is, isn't that great? Isn't that good for us? This is fantastic. And Eli's, no, we need one source. We need to get over this. And this is where they're arguing over what the CEO should say. And Eli wants him to say, doing everything to find out what happened. And Diane wants him to say everything to find out what started the outbreak. And so I loved how there was like an argument about this. And then you just hear the guy go saying, I'm doing everything I can to find out what happened to start the outbreak.
Yeah. Like Diane wins in this case.
Yeah.
Like this is one time where Diane wins this argument here. And it'll be interesting to see like in upcoming episodes, like whether or not Eli wins or Diane/Will wins in these fights.
Yes. Yeah. And the news is doing its usual spin thing, showing footage from before Eli was working with the CEO like walking out of his house carrying a trash can bag and saying, I wonder what else these kids were eating, which is not a good look, not a good move. So Gretchen calls Eli and she's, are you the man behind the cheese? Which was great. Like just telling Eli Gold, are you the man behind the cheese? Fantastic. Fantastic. And she says, I have an unnamed source that tells me all of this. And at the same time, we see news coverage of saying that the CEO has hired Eli Gold as their PR spin person. And this is what Eli Gold has done in the past. He has run these political campaigns. He also tried to frame someone before, like these things referencing Wendy Scott Carr, like all of these things. And all of a sudden, Eli has become the story as opposed to the cheese itself.
Yeah, and Will doesn't like that because we can't let this story keep getting out of control. Like it's spitting away from what I want it to be because now it's about me, and now the story has gone to other several different branches when we just want the story dead. Like this whole thing is Eli being like, we need to get over this mountain of accountability, we need to get over this mountain of this and that, and we just need to dead the story. This is just expanding the story, making it about me now. And so when it's about me, it's about 10 other things. So I think Eli is like pretty burned up about this quote unquote leaker. Yeah.
Yeah. And he goes straight to Diane and says, hey, what's going on? Who leaked it? She's, I think it's a fool's errand. We shouldn't really do it. He asks again. She's, oh, look it over there. Look at that. Look at that. Look what's happening. That's so interesting. Like
literally, look over there. Look that way.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, he's, I'm good at my job, but I can't have leakers. And she says Will didn't leak. So,
which is a lie.
She just, yeah, no.
She knowingly lied to Eli to his damn face. She's no, of course not. Will's not the leaker, which is interesting considering like Diane and it's the relationship, right? Diane has not had this relationship with Eli. I can't lie to Eli. I can lie to Eli. I don't give a two flying craps on Eli. I can lie to Eli's face if I want to. And that's literally what she did. Like, Will is not the leaker. He didn't leak. Will was a damn leaker. We know Will's the leaker. We saw Will agreeing to be the leaker earlier in the episode. Well, like he told Gretchen he would leak.
They've been through so much together, Diane and Will. And at the top of this episode, Will tells Diane, yeah, you can make a decision without me. Just keep me in the loop.
And so this is the power that Diane doesn't want to necessarily tarnish or get let go of. So it's in her best interest to tell Eli that Will didn't leak. But her next phone call better be like, hey, Eli knows that you leaked. So that's like setting him up for something.
Bro, this woman straight lied to this man's face. Will's not the leaker. Knowing damn well Will's the leaker. Okay, cool. Yeah. So Diane does not give two F's about Eli. Great. We see that. This story just died. It was it. I don't know what happened with the cheese. Yeah, it's like, this is over. This part of the story is done and over. I did seeing the CEO, because the CEO went to some vigils for the kids. Yeah. Some prayer vigils and got hit with cream pies all the way out. I was like, this is just a kind of hilarious branch of this episode. It's a really fun part of what was going on here.
But seeing CEOs get dunked on, love it. Also,
love it.
I love, yes. And I loved how he responded to, I'm happy to be here. In whatever condition, when he got pied, it was
because he doesn't know what to say anymore after getting a tongue lashing from Eli.
No. So I think you're right. There will be some more developments and some more cases like this. I do a team up of
Eli and Diane. I think that they will play well off of each other. So we shall see how it continues. Last and least, we have family developments here. Alicia asks Owen to babysit because she's in the mediation and she can't leave. So, of course, Owen is going to stay with the kids until Sunday. And Owen's typical baby brothering here. He's, you and Will sitting in a hotel. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And she's, stop, we're like on business. And he says, you are the most prudish, wanton woman I know. And this gets her to stop and look at him like, what? And then she leaves.
Marissa, what does wanton even really mean? What's the definition of wanton?
I pretty much think it's like horny.
Okay, wanton.
Like wanting of sexual desire, like having...
Okay, here we go. Sexually unrestrained or having many casual sexual relationships, typically used of a woman. Why is he calling her wanton? Wanton is not a synonym for prudish, though.
No, it's a contradiction. So what he's saying is you are the prudish, like you want to stay and be the good girl and do all of this. And then you have this other side to you where you're wanton. And you like, so he's saying you are the most prudish. It's like you're a contradiction to yourself. You're the most goody two shoes person, but you also really are a freak in the sheets, basically.
You're like getting it in. You love getting it in. And why does Owen know that about his sister?
I have no idea.
That's weird. But whatever. And I love how he says this to her and she just pauses. Like, and almost wait. Like, you just pause. Like, you had a pregnant pause there. What? He sees blood in the water and he's, I gotta find out what this means. What did that pause mean?
Right, because I don't think they've had a conversation. Like, he does not know. He just knows that Peter's out of the house. He doesn't know anything about what's going on with Will. He's making his own inferences because he drove the woman across the country to go tell Will that she loved him, like this whole thing, like he knows what's there, but she just leaves and she's, don't fight with Peter. And he's, you're sleeping with Will, which is why you left your husband. And she's, we'll talk later. We'll talk later.
Which is not a denial. So, okay, like you've just confirmed this for me. Cool.
Yes. Yeah. Zach and Owen are eating some pizza while watching news coverage about what's going on with the cheese. So that was pretty funny. And Owen's, Grace, stop eating the pizza.
Loved it.
And Zach asks Owen, like, what it was like growing up with his mom. And he tells him, like, I did all the bad things. Like, I drove a car into a lake. I did ecstasy. I did all this stuff. But your mom, she was, like, always on the straight and narrow. And he's like, yeah, she's still like that. That's how it is. And then we hear some boom music. And Grace is still being tutored by a future TikTok star person. I forget her name. What's her name? I don't know her name.
I honestly don't remember.
But they're making
used it in this episode.
And Owen is like asking like good questions. What are you studying? That's really interesting. And he's, we're just making a video, blah, blah, blah. It's called free dancing. And he's, yeah, okay. And then he walks out of that right into Zach saying, my dad slept with another woman. And I was like, what is happening?
Owen has had enough. This is like Owen's, like, the longest weekend in Owen's life. He walks into this room where the girl is like, Owen's like, this is pretty provocative stuff, huh? And like the girl says, yeah, it's street dancing, like freestyle. I'm like, you're getting dangerously close to like cultural appropriation.
Very much.
So I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's cringy in and of itself. And I'm still waiting for this girl to actually teach Grace anything, because we've not seen any type of like actual teaching, which might be a positive for Grace. I don't know. But yeah, this tutor storyline keeps being weird. But
it's
whatever.
weird.
Yeah.
And so Zach drops the news and Owen is like, what? And Zach is, wait, you didn't know this? What's going on? He's, no, I did not know. That is something I did not know.
Zach has no chill whatsoever, because like as soon as one walks, he's like, there's no preamble, there's no preface. There's just, hey, my dad slept with someone else that wasn't a hooker. It's like, oh, okay. It's like someone just punched Owen in the face. What? All right. Because as we know, like, Owen's thought is that Alicia decided to get the hots for Will and decided to break up with her husband. That's the reason that this is all over. But no, like Zach drops the bomb on him and it's like, yeah, my dad was sleeping with somebody else, which is shocking to Owen. I was just like, Zach, bro, like you gotta figure out some better way to break news to people, because this is not it. This ain't it right here.
And I also think it's funny because Owen's, I gotta find out. So I'm gonna go visit Alicia at the hotel and I'm gonna ask, who is it? Who was it? And the whole time Alicia's just preoccupied that Zach knows this information. She's, oh, Zach knows this. And Owen is obviously, I would be annoyed too. This is my sibling. I'm asking for information and you're not going to give me this information. He's like, why is work such an avoidance tactic for you these days? Like, why don't you tell me what's going on? This is weird.
Why is work an avoidance tactic? Because who's at work? Will. That's where I can go and be with my boo thing and not have to think about other things. And yeah, like Owen wants all the hot goss. Tell me who you're sleeping with. Tell me what's going on. Tell me who Peter slept with now. Come on. Me as the only child can't understand that, but you and Marissa as a sister probably
it's like, as a friend, if you like your best friend or a cousin or somebody that was just like somebody that tells you everything, and then you go up to them and you're like, what do you mean you're not telling me? It doesn't, like, what?
Yeah, and of course Alicia being Alicia, is Zach okay? What is happening? And of course, because Peter is not a effective communicator, did not tell Alicia, hey, I delivered some pretty bad news to Zach, so be on the lookout for that. Because Peter doesn't like, yeah, I had a tough convo with Zach, so you might want to make sure Zach's okay. This is all news to Alicia now.
Yeah, she's freaking out a bit. The kids are out of the house, and Owen decides he's going to have a friend over from school.
And this was a genius cinematography move, right? Because we come in on the scene and all we see is like a bunch of flesh press on other flesh. So I think a lot of us assumed, oh, this is a Will Alicia romantic scene, and we pan out and it's Owen and his friend Finn. Like, oh, like I can imagine some people out there that got really upset, that thought they were watching one thing and can't come to find out, oh, I was watching two dudes kiss. Oh my gosh. I can imagine some people out there being like terribly weirded out by that, but you shouldn't be weirded out by it. I want to think that was like the Kings. Yeah. I would love to think that's like the Kings trolling their like bigoted viewers. Got you.
Yeah, and I don't know at this time how many on-screen gay kisses we have seen on network television. Like, I'd have to do some research, but to your point, I think some people were like, what is this? And then for the conversation to go to like they're making out, and then Finn's no, I want to have tantric sex, which means you have to withhold gratification before gratification. We're in our clothes. We're doing all this stuff that's not sexual, but it like leads to sex. And Owen's like, that's cool and great, but I need some sex because the kids are coming home. Like, I don't have time for this. Let's do it. And then he hears someone come through the door and he's, oh my God, the kids are home early. And it's freaking Jackie. I was like, you are such an invader, Jackie. What are you doing? And for her to show up and then be like, I still have my key and I need to clean because you know how messy it could be here. I was just like, get your butt out of town. What is this? I do not like Jackie almost as much as I do not like Peter.
Freaking Jackie. And the way that she shades Alicia, even when Alicia's not in the room, how messy the house gets. Oh, Jackie, leave, go. And Jackie wanted to come in here to, what is Jackie actually doing here? She's trying to get like dirt on Alicia. What was Jackie's motive doing this?
Yeah.
Did she know Owen was going to be there? And it was a very odd scene to me at all, really.
Yeah. And Owen's no, like Jackie is early and she needs to leave. And Finn, because he wants to show Owen that like talking about your childhood can be something more or whatever. He's no, this is a great time to learn about Jackie's childhood. So let's sit her down. And of course, the first thing out of her mouth is Chicago was very different back then.
They didn't used to put the blacks so close to us. We used to have separate towns of the blacks. Now they're all in the same area we are. But I feel like in a less busy episode, we should have done this to actually get more time with Finn, Owen, and Jackie to see how that would have been. I can only imagine the kind of conversation that was had after we left them. Again, when the cameras leave, I just imagine the robot shutting down.
They shut down.
Not having an actual conversation. We're just... Nothing happened.
Like you're like at Disney World, and then they like turn off the animatronics, and they're just like,
that's gotta be creepy. If you work for Disney and it's like
Mom.
you see the characters dying, like oh my God, they're dead.
I wonder if they like go. Weird. I don't know. Anywho, last thing, Alicia comes home after all of the stuff and things, and just like barges into Zach's bedroom, and is
listen, you do not want to be kicking down doors of a 15, 16-year-old boy.
Like,
that's
wanna, like,
not
knock?
a good idea.
Like even knocking would have been great.
For your own benefit, knock before you enter a 15, 16-year-old's room, because you don't know what you're gonna say. Okay, just for all you parents of teens out there, as a former teenage boy, I can tell you,
I want to know,
knock
Jason.
before you enter. That's all I gotta say.
So anyway, she goes in and she's, I want to do something a little old-fashioned. I want to kiss you on the forehead, because she's still like feeling, I don't know. She won't talk to her kid about it, but she'll kiss him on the forehead. And then she goes to tuck him in, and Zach's, no, that's too much. She goes outside to talk to Owen, and Owen's, I'm so boring. All I did was watch daytime TV and do laundry. My life used to be exciting.
I noticed she didn't tell him about the boy he was making out with on her couch.
Yeah, no, that was left out of the story. There's no trace of Finn anymore. Yeah. But then he asks her, like, are you going to get hurt by this guy? And she says, I don't know. If you would have rebelled when you were younger, you wouldn't be going through this. And she's, what is that what this is? Rebellion? And he says, rebellion or love. It's not love, is it? And she says, no, a lie. This is a lie. This is a straight up lie, because you know what's happening. It's there. It's happening. There is some love.
Yeah, and just the face that she makes.
They would not be making pinkies.
And it's the face she makes when she hugs Owen, because Owen's like, it'll be really bad if it was love. This is not good if it's love. She's like, yeah, it would be really bad if it was love, Owen. She hugs Owen, and you see the worried look on her face out the other side of Owen. But when she said it wasn't love, I was like, is she saying that just to pacify Owen, or is this what she's saying because she doesn't know if it's love or not?
I think she's trying to convince it herself that it's not love, because she doesn't want to get injured. Like, she doesn't want to hurt herself, especially like after everything that she's been through. Like,
she just was really hurt by Peter again. Like, she's a little raw, she's a little tender. This could be something really big. It's not like she had a rebound person before going to Will. And I'm not saying that you need a rebound person before, but this is like major to major. There was no minor in between. And so it's a little scary. And so I think between that and the conversation that she had with Ira about compartmentalizing things, and it's just like playing in her mind, and she doesn't really know what to do with it. So she's trying to tell herself at the same time that it's not love, but it's only been 3 episodes of television and we know that it's love, especially on, and like it's on both sides. Like it's not just a one-sided thing.
Yeah, I think right now for Will and Alicia, it just feels fun. I think where they're going to get tripped up is where they're going to run into, as the kids say, DTR, defining the relationship. And is there going to be a moment where they had to sit down and be like, so what is
are we doing?
This? Like,
yeah,
what are we calling this? Because I feel like they haven't done that yet. Like, they've only just been having fun rendezvous in hotels and Alicia's place and Will's office bathroom, but they haven't really like drilled down on what this is. I think that's going to be where a lot of the interesting, juicy stuff is coming from. I found it interesting, like they just, every case since they got together, they've been working together. Every case.
Oh yeah, and
jeez,
they don't go to dinner. It's not like they're doing things outside of work or outside of sex.
They're not going on dates. They're just banging.
They're not going on dates. Yeah, but I think at the same time, the wires are getting crossed. I think they're catching feels. That's what the kids still say, right? Like they still catch feels. Is that a thing?
Sure, why not? But they're in these situations where people are clocking their relationship. Like we just had Cuddy. I'm gonna just call her Cuddy. We had Cuddy like basically call it out. Hey, there's something going on here. And we've had, even before they actually officially got together, people in the firm like, oh yeah, that's Will and Alicia. They got a weird thing going on. So they're not gonna be able to hide this forever. They need to figure out what's happening. I don't know if they're still doing their fake little fighting at the firm, because we didn't really get any footage of them really interacting with any other members of the firm together in the same area. So I don't know if they're even still doing that, but you're gonna have trouble hiding it after a while because people can see it.
I was like surprised. There were other people in that hotel room during work hours. There were, and like
someone just walked in while Alicia was while Alicia was like straddling Will in the hotel room. Like, someone just walked in like, what the hell are y'all doing? Unless that was like Alicia's personal hotel room. I don't know.
But even if it was, I don't know. It was just like you could pick up like the vibes are there when they're not. The vibes are there all the time. Like you said, Cuddy picked up on it. So I'm like, is one of those people, but we don't even know who those people are. So I would be like,
but yeah, they're red shirts. But I feel like the vibe, I don't even know if it would be weird for the people in the firm because they've had the vibes even before they actually got together. So maybe for them it's just like normal Alicia Will vibes. They got a crush on each other, but they haven't really done anything about it yet. So maybe they would be surprised to know, yes, they actually have been doing things about it recently.
Or they'll notice if things go south, then they'll know that's something. Like they won't have that cover of, oh yeah, they have crushes on each other anymore because the vibe will change.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see how this evolves. What are the hurdles? What are the obstacles? Because we've been having fun. We've been having our fun times with Will and Alicia. They've been taking advantage of fun together. But when are we going to hit our first hurdle, our first obstacle? And what's that going to look like? So yeah, I'm very interested to see when that's going to come up. But yeah, that was season 3, episode 3. Get a room. They got several rooms. They probably had many rooms for all their law firm stuff in that hotel. Marissa, do you want to fill the people in on where they can find you and all of your musings and all of your work out there in the internet?
On the internet, you can find me at itsmemarissag.com. There I have links to all of the socials that I'm currently active on. You can also join my email list, which is the best way to keep up with what I'm doing. Outside of podcasting, I'm helping people podcast. So there's still always a podcast. If you'd like to start a podcast, definitely just shoot me an email, let me know. Otherwise, I am here on the Good Pod talking with you, Jason. We just wrapped up Elsbeth, so we are back in full good wife territory for a while until Elsbeth comes back. And over on Whirlwind Podcasts, I have been going through Pretty Little Liars with the group over there, but only by watching the previous Leons. So we are on season 3. I still don't know I don't know how anything is happening. And if you think I'm bad with names on this podcast, I'm worse with names on that podcast.
That's what you can expect if you want to tune in over there. Jason, what's going on with you?
Yeah, you can find me on social media at Blue Sky at JR33D. You can find me podcasting about the show Mediator for a Site over on my Patreon podcast, A Perfect Match, with me and Asia Welch. We are going through the first season of Mediator for a Site while we are in the downtime between current seasons. We're going back to the past. And it's like I said, we're doing season 1 of Mediator for a Site. It's such an interesting difference to see how the show has evolved from season 1 to now we're at season 18. So that's an interesting little look we're doing in the past. So check me out there if that is something that floats your boat. But until next week, stay good.